It is the year 2005. The treacherous Decepticons have conquered the Autobots' home planet of Cybertron. Cybertrons! Of Cybertron. Cybertrons! Of Cybertron. Of Cybertrons! 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 Cybertrons! Of Cybertron. Cybertrons! Of Cybertron.
We now return you to the Children of Primus.
Welcome back,
All
everyone.
right. Welcome to another episode of Children of Primus. So glad to be here as always.
Frenzy Freestyle Sunday.
We are starting off with a small crew tonight. That's all right, though.
It's all right.
So we have one extra visitor, at least in this studio.
Go on.
Do you see that up there? See the wires hanging out? That's where the main light in this room used to be.
Okay.
A snake got into my crawl space and forced his way into that box and tried to force his way through that, and he unhinged that fucking light. I got to watch it from video because there was motion in here when the lens came out like this, and I was going, "What in the fuck? Are we having an earthquake?" And then all of a sudden the light falls, boom, like that, and there's a snake hanging out of it.
How
then I
far
got
out
to
do
go-
you live?
Like I said, I live in the woods. I mean, I have cats for a reason. But yeah, he forced his way through that. That light fell. Luckily, nothing major got hurt.
Torborg's scared.
Yowzer. No thanks. I mean,
Well,
snakes
but
don't so
lucky-
much bother me. I'd be more worried about what they would do to my dog. But,
You live in the United States, don't you? Well, you live in
aw.
Florida, so you got to worry about the boas or something down there, isn't it?
I don't know. I am no Steve Irwin. I do not know the difference
Y'all have
between
a
one
big-
snake to
y'all
the
have
other.
a big snake in Florida, but it's in the Everglades area,
Hmm.
and it's 8 or 10 foot long.
Yeah, I
snake,
guess.
but
I don't know.
Up here, I mean, this was just a rat snake, just a black snake. It's non-venomous. You just go up and grab it like a cat and throw it out the fucking door.
Hmm.
And that's what they do. They hunt mice and rodents. They're not something that you kill. But this one wanted in here for some reason.
Yeah, for some reason. That is wild.
That is wild.
I do not miss living that far away from civilization. I can tell you that.
So cheers.
The closest I think I ever lived away from town was like 23 miles. How far away are you from like the closest town?
From a major town or from town?
Town, someplace you can get gas. Let's put it that way.
Oh, 4 miles.
Huh.
Rio is our closest. It's REO. It's Rockport, Evansville, Owensboro Junction. It used to be called Rio Junction. Now it's just called Rio. Everything, but it's got gas station, Wendy's, car wash, truck detailing center. It's just a small community. It's where the drive-in is. We still have an actual drive-in movie theater. It's got 5 screens.
Nice,
Yep.
nice.
You know,
5?
we go there all the time. Yeah, it has 5 screens.
Jeez.
It's wicked. It's wicked.
I think we
they're
only
all
got 2
digital
left
now.
down here in
They were
Florida.
going to have to close because of the digital. You know,
That was a
everything
big
went to
problem,
digital.
yeah.
And everybody, this whole community got together. It's the only thing that we've got. Rockport is the only thing that they've got for somebody that's not 21 to do.
Mm.
And the whole community got together and they signed these petitions and they got accepted for a grant, and they got, I don't remember if it was 3 or 4 of them donated if they bought one.
Nice.
Really nice.
Or they got 3 of them donated if they bought 2, or whatever it was. That they got a huge discount to do it. So now we're up to date. But now, major cities, Owensboro, which is 3rd largest city in Kentucky, is right across the river from me, which is only 12 miles that way. And then Evansville is 30 miles in the other direction. But where I live at is very extremely rural. It's farming community. I live on our 40-acre farm, that I farmed as a kid.
Jeez.
Nice.
We had 25 acres of woods that we grew locust trees in, and then we planted them every 4 foot by 4 foot, so that they would grow nice and straight. And we cut up posts and sold posts on this part of it, and then the other 30 acre. I'm sorry, I said 25. I got them backwards. 15 acres of woods, 25 acres of tobacco farm.
Boy, I bet that went the way of the dodo.
Oh yeah, but I mean, the government bought ours. The government bought our tobacco tracts.
Mm.
We're just not allowed to farm that particular area anymore, and so now it's just sagebrush. It's there for the deer to eat and for me to hunt in.
Cool.
Well, so that was my week.
That's quite a week. I mean, we've just
you
been...
can see my mascot sitting there beside me there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what's that now? Oh, that's your costume, isn't it?
Yeah. I was told to bring it for some reason, so I don't know why.
Mm-hmm. We'll catch up on a couple of comments. As Stephen Bach mentioned, he'll be here shortly. Professor D says, "Here we go." And William Glenn II, ain't no one here able to smell that breath. Let's see. Stephen Bach says, "Magnus in Jurassic Park this weekend instead of Toy Warp." And also says, "Boa constrictors are an invasive species down in Florida."
That's the one that y'all have down in Florida.
Former
it's more
pets,
close to the Everglades. I don't know where you're at in Florida. I just know you're in Florida.
The former pets that people let out in the wild.
Yeah, people buy a boa constrictor and don't realize that, unlike, I think it's the ball python won't outgrow its terrarium. If you put it in a 10-gallon aquarium, it's not going to get big enough that's not going to be suitable for it. Now, if you let it roam around the house, it's going to just continue to go. But those snakes, if I'm not mistaken, are the ones that just continue to grow. They'll grow until they bust out of what they're enclosed in.
That's nuts.
Yeah, I'm nowhere near the Everglades, so I'm good.
I would say you wouldn't have to worry about any snakes down there. How's the fire ants in your area? I know they're all over where my sister lives.
Everywhere. Yeah, that's just any yard you walk into, you're going to have fire ants, yeah.
So let me ask you a question. Have you ever used a salt gun on them?
No,
Did you know what a salt blaster is?
Yeah.
Pump. It's like a BB gun, but you fill it with rock salt or table salt, It's made to kill bugs. It's made to kill, and I just wonder if it would kill a fire ant, because if it does, when I show up for the wedding, I'm gonna have like an arsenal of them, because there's 4 different kinds, and I'm gonna have them like in ammo gun or gun cases and shit, and I'll be like, Bill, come check this out. Like that, when he comes over to the truck, I'll open it up and be like, choose your weapon, man. Let's go hunting.
And the bugs are big enough down here, you could pretty much come and hunt them, yeah.
But I don't know if the fire ant is one of those ones that's hard enough that all you're going to do is piss it off and make it go back to the colony and come back with reinforcements.
Ooh. I have no idea, honestly. We use some kind of poison on them when they get kind of close to the house, but other than that, they leave us alone, we leave them alone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Jackie's always making a post once or twice a week about getting stung by them out in the yard.
Well, yeah, you can't.
Don't go in the fucking yard.
Yard barefoot. Don't go in the yard barefoot. Yeah, you can't walk around here barefoot.
She's a Kentucky girl. She got to walk barefoot.
Yeah, they got me real good. I was walking my dog, and I had my sandals on, and she pulls me into a yard. And usually she does. I just kind of let her do her sniff thing, and right into a pile, and just, oh my God, man, it just immediately felt like they were chewing my foot off. It was not pleasant, and it stayed like that for like 3 or 4 days. It was not fun.
Well, Professor D.
No, they are not.
Okay.
They are not, Professor D. I do know that much. No, army ants are the things that go on a march, and they devour everything, all vegetation and all organic life in front of them, and they go for miles. No, fire ants I don't know if they bite or they sting or what,
they bite.
They hurt like the frickin' Dickens.
Yeah.
And it feels like you're being burned. It feels like you stepped on a match head. And that's why they're called fire ants.
Luckily, the burning sensation doesn't stay for so long. After that, it just pretty much itches.
Right. No, I still have a horrific memory of visiting the Grand Canyon when I was like 6, 7 years old. I was a child. And the first place that we got to where you could pull over and there was guardrails and you could get out and look and see the actual canyon right there at the road. Mm-hmm. Everything, we got out, and I was a little bitty thing, and so I got up to the rail and I stood up on this hill and I was looking, and look at the river down there. Oh, look, you can see people down there. And my legs caught on fire. I was standing on a freaking fire ant mound.
Oh, jeez.
And they just, I'm caving their home in on them, and they were defending themselves. But yeah, that was, I don't know if you know this about me or not, but I'm allergic to things that sting. Deathly allergic to things that sting.
Oh, jeez.
But fire ant venom is not one of those things. But that doesn't mean that we didn't freak out. Because we're in the middle of the desert. There ain't no hospital around, and we don't have an EpiPen.
Wow.
It wasn't something that you had back in those days.
So you got to have like an EpiPen handy for like a bee sting or something?
Wasps.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, honeybee doesn't have enough power, but a red wasp, yellow jacket, anything like that will fuck. Well, it depends on where I get stung. If it's lower extremities, arms, legs, usually not too bad. If it's center torso near my heart or in my neck near the jugulars where it can pump that venom through, I have to take a shot and monitor myself for like 15, 20 minutes. And if my tongue starts to swell up, then I've got to get to the ER.
Wow.
And a sting in the head is automatic shot of epi and get your ass to the hospital now.
Well, we got SETTOM.
How's it going, sir?
Yeah, it's in the 80s today, so I'm sitting out on the porch with Shinto while I still can.
Yeah, it was nice.
Where's the little dude?
Hey, what's up?
Well, today's topic, this evening's topic, we're going to speak a bit about Transformers, but then we're just going to branch off on everyone else's interests, because I know there's so many interests that sometimes we like talking about and we don't get a chance to talk about, but then also to not keep ourselves contained within just Transformers, since there are so many things out there that's happening. I know X-Men 97, the animated series, is one thing everyone's been talking about. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet, and
don't spoil. I haven't watched the last 2 episodes.
Oh, okay. probably going to do a watch party at some point this week or next weekend. So I get a chance to watch it. Anyone else who joins in who hasn't watched it, and then we can be up to date with everyone. And Settom, I'm guessing you have watched it.
I haven't watched it.
Oh,
I've been watching like reviews on it that kind of skid around the tighter details.
Okay.
So no spoilers.
I've just been paying attention to like how it's doing, performing, just little reviews of it. And the stuff like if I see like a clip of it on YouTube, then I'm like, okay, I'll look up about that part.
And I think the only clip that I've seen is the one with Cyclops, where he's landing and he uses his beams to land. That's the only clip I've seen.
He does it quite often. It's
interesting. Okay.
Yeah, Cyclops in the X-Men 97 is the way he is in the comics, a badass, not the way he is in the live action where he's been neutered. There's a reason. X-Men 97 reminds you why Cyclops is the leader and not Wolverine. Right.
That makes sense, because I've heard that where it's like in comic wise, Cyclops isn't that was character that he was in the cartoon.
He's not a pushover.
And it kind of the same thing they did with Ultra Magnus in season 3 of Transformers compared to Prime, whereas like season 3 on Rebirth, he was more of a pushover, and Prime, like you almost couldn't control him. Like he was more of a leader.
As he should have been from the start.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I haven't watched any of the X-Men 97 just because I've been watching Invincible like a week at a time as Prime is releasing it, and it's just killing me. I want to be able to sit down and watch them at my pace. I don't want to have to wait for the next episode. So I'm waiting until somebody tells me yes, all the episodes are out. Then I'll go watch it.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be 10.
I thought X-Men 97 was all out, and then we watched it, and then it ended, and I was like, and it comes up, and it's like, tune in next week, and I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna give this a month.
Yeah,
I think they're doing it. It seems to be in like 1 or 2 episode batches. It's like all the reviews I see are 2 at a time, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, everything that I've watched so far, I've seen the first 4 are they did excellent on it. There's a couple little iffy things that they rush a little bit because it's like each episode is an entire series.
It's a D+ show.
If you read the old comic books, like Inferno, one of the biggest things that there was in comics, the Madeline Pride or Pride, and the Goblin Queen. It was shit. I don't know. Settom, help me out. 18 or 20 issues?
Yeah, it was in the Inferno. 80s. I read it like via trade, like
it's one
before
episode.
COVID. Yeah, you get that. Yeah, the crunch time of it. Yeah, it gets kind of squished together. It's a difference between like watching like the Full Metal Alchemist animes versus the live action movies, where it's all crunched down into 2 hours versus 2 seasons.
Yeah, that's what sucks when you try to make a movie out of something that's serialized and has been running for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I will say though, exception to that is like the live action Rurouni Kenshin movies. Those are actually pretty good.
Well, Professor D says I haven't watched any new X-Men. Spin them down for a watch party and reaction. And before I get to the next comment, Settom, explain the cartoon that you just mentioned. Give us like a brief description of it. Oh, the cartoon you just mentioned. Give us like a brief description of it.
Oh, Rurouni Kenshin. Oh, well, Full Metal. I'll go with Full Metal Alchemist. That's by a female mangaka. She's also done a adaptation of the heroic legend of Aslan, which was originally illustrated by Yoshitaka Amano. But as for Full Metal Alchemist, imagine like I'll say maybe an alternate world kind of post-World War I. And instead of going like the heavy weapon tech, like you get alchemy instead. mean, there's still some tanks and stuff like that, but it's more like stuff kind of stops at steam trains. And you have these two brothers. Their dad abandons them for some unknown reason to begin the series. Before even the series starts, their mom dies. He tried to revive her, and that's the big no-no. The law equivalent exchange, and you cannot revive the dead. You're not supposed to do that. It's like the big no-no. And of course, they're kids. Kids are going to be kids. They're going to try hubris, all that stuff. They do it. The one brother loses his arm. The other brother loses his whole body. The brother that loses the arm, he manages to attach his brother's soul to a suit of armor. And everybody assumes that he's the 4-metal alchemist, the one that's attached to the armor, but it's actually the one with just the 1-metal arm. And they go on a quest for like the Philosopher's Stone, and you get them working with like as a state alchemist of the U.S. I mean the military, the major military that's sort of the police, Peace Corps for the world. And that's willed, and they're kind of taking advantage of it because hey, we can get research, access to research and resources we might not otherwise, and they're realizing, hey, there's some pretty seedy shit here. And you have villains that are homunculus. Probably Mr. Magnus probably knows how to say that word better than me, but like the fake, that. And they're based on like the 7 deadly sins, but that's not super important. It's just to give them more flavor,
Right.
More to give those characters more flavor rather than just generic fake humans. And then you find out that their dad's actually. You find out a lot of stuff about their dad, and he's not actually that bad, and you find out there's a whole lot more to magic than there is. And then as a Rurouni Kenshin, that's a lot more simple. It's pretty loosely based off like the period leading up to the Meiji Restoration and during the Meiji Restoration of Japan, and the main character is loosely based off like an assassin. And oh god, I'm not even gonna try to say his name today, but I mean, it's loosely based off a lot of historical figures, and it's sort of a story of like, okay, a war veteran trying to coming to peace, like, okay, I did some horrible stuff in the war. Now I'm trying to help people rather than, I won't kill anymore. So he uses like a reverse bladed sword. So the sharp edge faces him, and the dull blade faces outward. And he gets dragged into stuff. So, like, the movies cover the prologue with this woman that sort of is the first person to really reach him as a human being because he's a child killer and whatnot. Like, not a killer of children, but, like, he's raised as an assassin from a young child. And this woman, so you see the first movie is this. You see the first human relationship that really humanizes him. Then the 3 films in the middle kind of focus on the most villains of the main TV series, and then the last movie focuses on the epilogue series, where the woman who humanized him, brother, comes for him.
It's a lot easier to do when you got multiple movies. I mean, a lot of these things I was referencing was long time running. What was Avatar, like 6, 7 seasons? Trying to cram all that into one movie, thinking they were going to have 3, and you didn't get it. So there was just one. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I would say, definitely. Like the second there's only 3 Fullmetal Alchemist live action movies. The second one I would say is the best one, but it had the most to work with, and it deals with the character Scar, who has like this X-shaped scar over his face. That one's worth watching. The first and last one, you can give or take. They definitely run into the.
Are they like a Japanese movie, or that's like dubbed over?
It's Japanese live action. Yeah, it's
okay.
If it's live action, I'm watching it sub. I can deal with like animation Like if it's animation, watching sub or dub. But if it's live action, I gotta watch it with subtitles because otherwise it's just weird seeing a real human being, and you know that's not their voice.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Because I did that with not the crappy American, like the Japanese Death Note movies. I got those on DVD like back in the 2000s, and they would always default. And I'd be like, oh god, no, get the English off. It's so awkward. So
yeah, I kind of felt the same way with Initial D.
Well, I guess I would throw this to you guys. In terms of shows putting out an entire series at once or doing it episode by episode, I personally prefer when shows or series puts an episode out weekly. Because kind of back in the day, it's like, you wait for your favorite episode, you watch it, and then after that, you're talking within your friends for that week as a build up to the other one. Whereas like now, if you drop an entire series, like you watch it in one weekend and like that's it. So it's like, the hype of it kind of dies off within a week, as opposed to like you could keep that hype going for months and months on end.
yeah, I remember like the hype during like the week by week with True Detective seasons 1 and 3. And then I want to say Arcane was released in arcs, so it would be like, I think there's like 9 episodes total, and you release like the first arc, which is the first 3 episodes when they're kids. The 2 sisters are kids. The middle episodes is when the sisters find each other again, and then the last 3 episodes is everything going to shit.
Well,
and that works too because it's sort of like a happy middle ground.
Mm-hmm. Magnus, what about you?
I agree to an extent. If it's something that my group is going to watch,
Okay.
Like The Mandalorian, Ahsoka, we all did those every week and everything. And then when we got together on the weekends, of course, you talked about it. Pros and cons to death. But if it's something that most of my group's not going to watch, X-Men 97.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll wait until the end of it. Or my girlfriend has never watched any Supernatural before, and so we've been watching those. That's our just said, oh, there's nothing on. Okay, let's kick on another episode of Supernatural. And
that's
almost
lot
caught
of
up to that.
seasons.
Yeah, 15.
That is one of the shows.
We're in the last season. Thank God.
Jeez.
But
Supernatural is like one of those shows. I've known people from so many cultural, political, religious, like pretty much if there's a type of person that can watch that show, I probably, like, I know a Russian Jew, a Pakistani girl from Islamabad. Since she wasn't super conservative, I mean, she wore like Western style clothes, but like I know like the whole spectrum, male and female people that watch that show. It's just one of those shows that I guess a lot of people it appeals to them, I guess.
I feel like I've never watched that show.
You've never watched any Supernatural?
No.
I've only seen bits and pieces of it.
If you like the thought of what if ghosts and vampires and werewolves and all that shit was real, but we just didn't know about it. Because it's in today's time with today's resources and today's weaponry.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, I always thought of like Supernatural.
These things are out there, and there's a group of people that do know about it, and they're called hunters.
Okay.
And that's what the main 2 guys are. They're hunters.
Yeah, I always thought of like Supernatural.
It's good. I mean, I've never been disappointed with an episode, really.
Yeah, I always thought of it as sort of like being adjacent to something, an IP like Spawn, but while Spawn has the inclusion of superhero elements as well, like Supernatural doesn't, but otherwise they're very similar shows, especially if you go back and look at the HBO show and you start to realize, oh, there's all this heaven and hell and demons and vampires and all this stuff that's right under humanity's nose with their own intentions. Yep. And Spawn's very much the same way, especially like modern, like 21st century Spawn. Once you get out of I would say once you get into like post Armageddon Spawn, so like the 160s, I want to say, and up to the 350s or 360s that it's in now, that's when it basically goes into urban horror.
All right, cool.
Make sure
Toy
Shinta
Warp.
doesn't go too far away.
Toy Warp, what about you in terms of like shows that you're more into other than just Transformers?
Oh, Cobra Kai was way better than it deserved to be, especially considering it started on YouTube Red. God, what else? The Boys on Amazon Prime.
Yes.
It's kind of like
Oh God.
yeah, it's
The
kind of like
Boys.
if superheroes were real and they had
They
the
were
same
assholes.
problems as us, and along with the same mental disorders.
And didn't have plot armor. And didn't have plot armor. That's the best. That's the best. When the episode 1, the dude runs right through the girl and she obliterates.
And he's like, I'm
He's
sorry.
like, I can't stop. I gotta go. And he takes off again, and dude's just sitting there holding her arms. She's just a puddle of goo.
Yeah,
She
he
just
was
got hit
holding
by a
goosebumps.
human form at light speed.
Yeah, the boys is really good. Yeah, and then Invincible, something else that kind of takes the superhero genre and kind of turns it on its ear. So,
Oh yeah. Omni-Man is very much Superman without the moral compass.
although he's getting somewhat of a moral compass here in season 2.
Yeah, I guess they kind of use him sort of almost kind of like the way Vegeta and Dragon Ball Z and Super was. He starts off, you see him as a bad. He has some goodness to him. They start him off more bad, and because of his love for his family, he's like, oh, he starts being less of a dick. Is that pretty accurate?
Yeah, I guess.
Well,
Oh yeah, and then Robert Kirkman that originally wrote Invisible, he writes Void Rivals of the Energon universe, which the current Transformer comics are in, by the way.
Cool. And
And The Walking Dead.
We'll get into the comics after. Professor D says, "Oh, I see Bill's Optimus Prime costume in the room. Maybe that's what them snakes were after. Darn Decepticon Cobra Alliance. Do you think it goes as deep as Cobra Law?"
Yeah, Soundwave sent a snake in.
Cobra, la 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 la. Had to do it.
Well, I was going to say in terms of of other shows and everything. I know we've spoken upon G.I. Joe and everything. I guess I'll throw us over to Toy Warp Hot Wheels. What's going on in the Hot Wheels world at the moment?
Boy, you're asking the wrong one, because I don't keep up with what's happening now. I kind of keep up with what happened in the heyday. Everything that I'm into when it comes to collecting the toys is about yesterday. You know what I mean? I think the newest thing that I would do from Hot Wheels is the Accelerator series, and I think that was around 2005, 2006. But the last time I caught the Hot Wheels did just drop a new show on Netflix. It is very kid centric. It's very kiddie like. It's not as good as their previous stuff, where it would appeal to an older audience as well as the kids. So yeah, adults can't sit and watch the new Hot Wheels stuff. It's just too kidified.
Well, speaking of that, with the original toys, were they intended for children or for any ages of anyone who wanted to collect them? Like,
they were originally intended for children. However, they were made by through and through car people that were very into the California car scene at the time, and the California car scene was very much about custom, sleek vehicles with fancy paint jobs. I mean, it was a whole California vibe in the late '60s when Hot Wheels came out. I think Hot Wheels was the first to recognize that they had, after a while, they recognized that they had an adult collector market. So they started putting out more adult-centric toys that, that would appeal to a higher price range that those collectors were willing to pay.
Okay.
Yeah, they were pretty much the first to do it. Matchbox followed suit really quick with their collectors club, realizing that once they fired that up, realizing it was just a bunch of old middle-aged men that was still collecting them. And that was clear back in like the early 80s. So yeah.
Sam, what were you going to mention about Hot Wheels?
Yeah, I would say I remember being in the classic Hot Wheels in the 80s, and I'm trying to think of what Toy Warp hadn't mentioned already. I remember getting like the toy tracks and setting up the toy tracks in like our walk-in basement. But more recently, I know some of the character cars, mainly like Stormtroopers from Star Wars and the Mario Kart Hot Wheels. I'll get those. And I think I got some Overwatch Hot Wheels too. The Marvel ones tend to be, they don't hit that sweet spot as those other ones do design wise for me, so I don't mess with the Marvel ones, but some of them are kind of neat.
They also dropped a video game here about 8-9 months ago, and if you've got Xbox Live, they just put it on Game Pass so you can get the game for free essentially. It's Hot Wheels Unleashed 2. It is a lot of fun. Finding other players to play online with is a little tough sometimes because there's not a whole lot of people playing it, but the player numbers keep creeping up now that it's a free game. So yeah, there's that as well.
Nice. And we bring it back over to Mr. Magnus in terms of Warhammer.
Oh, where did I put them at? Right over there. Warhammer, nothing real new has happened. I mean, they reopened the older stuff, and it's called Warhammer. I don't know. I'm not into it, so I don't know what. I just saw some people playing with it today or yesterday at the Magic pre-release. But I am the what is called the Silent King. I am the Necron guy in our area, and.
Would you like to translate that to English, please?
Warhammer is a board game played with dice and miniatures and tape measures, because every weapon has a limited range, every character has a limited range, and you've got to be in range to attack. The Necrons, when I got into Warhammer, is when I first got out of Magic. I was like, well, I'm going to have something to spend my money on, so I got into Warhammer. I had some other friends that were playing it, and I was like, so what do you think I should do? And they were like, oh, you're definitely a Necron player, plus we don't have a Necron player. And so I started looking up, and Necrons are basically, in a nutshell, they're the T-1000s. They're no longer organic. They're robots with human emotion, human feeling, intent on taking over the galaxy. And they have magic that they get from these certain stones and stuff, and they're wicked. But this, I haven't got him fully painted yet, but this is actually the Silent King. This is about $140 piece, and you see him standing there. I've just got him base coated right now. But this is a piece you put on the battlefield, and I want to say he's 1,100 points. He's expensive to buy, expensive to use, because games are point based. If you're going to have a 2,000 point game, and I'm taking up over half of that with one piece.
So let me get this right, Bill. You do the whole Warhammer thing. You do, what was the mech thing? Battletech. And I know you said you did Magic.
I still do Magic. That's another thing that I've got here on the. Yeah, I still play Commander. Oh, that's what I did this weekend. I went to a pre-release. But my favorite thing to do with about the Warhammer, and the same as with BattleTech, is that you get to paint them. And this is my Void Dragon. This is another like $80 piece, and I painted this.
Nice.
Holy cow!
How long did it take to paint that?
I don't know, 45 minutes if you take all the time. Putting a layer on, letting it dry, moving on to another piece.
Okay.
But like 3 days. Nothing, but really, time elapsed only about 45 minutes. And then I also do what they call flocking, which is where you put the rocks and stuff on the bases. Yeah, this is a Void Dragon. This is a very intricate piece. He's a very powerful piece. 2,000 point game is him and the Silent King. It's the only two pieces I put on the board, and I usually win. This is Salazar, and it's going to focus on me instead of on him. But if you can see, he's actually stabbing a guy in the back and sucking his essence out of him.
That is crazy.
But yeah, I do Warhammer, Magic, Transformers, BattleTech, Vampire the Requiem, which is a LARP, a live-action role-playing game. D&D. I'm also a dungeon master for our group. Right now, I've actually put my game on hold because I kickstarted this. It's basically a map kit, where you can make your 3D models on the board for your people to actually use characters and stuff to go through the game. And so I put my game on hold until that comes in.
All those games. You do the cosplay thing with the Transformers. I know you said last week that you're getting into the 3D printing. You work construction. I've had a lot of friends that work construction, and they already are minus on time. So, Bill, here's my question: when do you freaking sleep?
I sleep 3 to 4 hours a night. I always have.
No kidding. Okay,
Yeah.
so there is something to there is something to your sleep schedule that you have time to do all this stuff.
No, I do actually lay down in the bed and everything. My girlfriend goes to bed at like 8 o'clock and everything. But I'm usually on my phone till noon or 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, midnight, 1 o'clock, and then I'll go to sleep and I get up at 4.
Oof.
And then, but I mean, I'm laying there doing nothing, just playing games or reading stuff, reading a book, reading a comic book, go down a rabbit hole on internet.
Yep.
Yeah, I just don't sleep. I never have.
Wow.
And I relate that to being a farm kid. If I wanted to go out and have fun with my friends, I had to still be able to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to take care of the farm.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's just the way that I've always been. 4 o'clock is your wake up call. That's what time you're getting up. Boots are on the ground at 4:15. Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
There's no, oh man, I was out late last night. Well, tough shit. Them cows ain't gonna make themselves. Go.
Yep. Well, Professor,
They're in there waiting. Let's get going. We got 15 farmhands showing up to plant these fields. Let's get going. We got to get out there and grease the tractors. We got to get everything oiled up, ready to go. There was no downtime.
Mm-hmm.
As
So
soon as you
your only
woke up,
downtime was at night then, yeah.
was at night.
Wow.
Yeah, and if you're gonna have fun time, you have to give up something. And so I gave up sleep, and I just never needed it. Now I will crash about once every 6 months. I'll just get real tired, and I'll sleep until like 8 o'clock in the morning and be drugged crazily all day. And I know when I say I slept till 8 o'clock in the morning, y'all are like, "Oh damn, it's about the time I get up." No, I get up at 4.
I'm stuck on a third shift schedule. I usually don't go to bed till like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning.
wow.
But even when I was on a normal schedule, I couldn't be up that early. No
See,
way.
when I've only had to work thirds 3 or 4 times in my life, thank God. But this last time, which was like 3 years ago, is when I first started with this company. We had a third shift going, and they didn't have anybody in supervision that could come in for the third shift. And so that's when they said, "Hey, Bill, you're going to come in," and that's when I started taking care of all the books and everything. That's when they're like, "Oh, well, he keeps really good books. We're going to go ahead and make him supervisor." And so we were doing that, on that third shift, I was just there to watch them. I was there in case an emergency happened, and they had to have somebody that could sign the papers and get somebody to the hospital. That's all I was there for. And me and my apprentice, we would go out into the shop yard and we cleaned out 3 or 4 of the connexes and built shelves and went through all the bins and got 25 sets of sockets. Look at this, we got complete sets in these socket bins now. Just organized the tools. And he'd be like, "Oh man, I'm getting tired." I was like, "Well, go take a nap." And he's like, "What are you gonna do?" I was like, "Oh, I'm find something." And I actually didn't sleep for like 3 days because that was when I was supposed to be sleeping, and I was working, and I can't sleep with the sun's up.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I don't have that problem. I'm a vampire, apparently.
I do not have that problem.
We're gonna catch up on some of.
Not that Ohio has a lot of
magic
sun.
goes. That's what I actually did today. Was I sorted cards and priced them because I'm fixing to sell a big lot. But this right here, I don't know how many's in there, but that's one. Every card in that bin is between $20 and $200.
Would you like to sponsor a race car?
If I could sell all these cards, yeah, we wouldn't have a problem with that at all.
What was that?
It reminds me, I had sorted to my got into it mainly because of my nephew, Pokemon cards, and teaching. He wanted to learn how to play. And I was sorting through all my cards recently and updating my decks because the rotation was April 5th.
These released this weekend.
So you got some good pulls this weekend, apparently.
Oh yeah, I got some real good pulls this weekend.
I love when that happens.
That's wild. Looking at a stack of cardboard that could pay for half my race car. Yeah.
Well, like these two guys here, these were bonus cards. They were free when you bought boxes, and they're $77 a piece.
Yeah, I was really hoping to go racing again this year, but it'd be an election. I forgot it's election year, so no one's spending any money. So my business is going really slow right now.
We just had a set that crossed over with the Lord of the Rings, and that was the chase card in this set. The One Ring. Most expensive magic card ever sold. Yeah, most expensive magic card in the set was sold for $2.8 million, I think.
Oh.
And it was the One Ring, serialized One Ring 001. So it's the One Ring. And
literally.
he's a rapper. I can't think of Posh Malone, something like that. Something Malone.
Post Malone.
He's all tattooed up, but he plays the game, and he's the one that bought it. $2-point-something million to a guy in Canada who found it, who pulled it, who was lucky enough to pull it. But yeah, I went through probably close to 1,000 cards this morning, pricing, labeling, alphabetizing, everything, getting ready for a big sale.
Cool. Now, is that sale related to the event in Kentucky?
No. This is just stuff that I do.
Okay. Now, to catch up on the.
I'm a little bit of a legend in our area in Magic. I'm feared. When I went to the pre-release this weekend, they were like, "Oh shit,
he's here."
Because
good luck getting that grand prize.
in Magic, and I'm sure Pokemon and the rest of them are the same way. They have this thing called the meta, and the meta is we actually have a world tournament in Magic. We have 8 guys that are making 6 figures playing this freaking card game, and the decks that they build. Of course, they've got 19 guys here going, okay, we got these 5 sets that we're pulling cards from. Let's find the deck. Let's find the deck that's going to beat all the other decks. That's the meta. Well, I also have a crew. Me and Pete, we're known as Team Homebrew. And we take that meta deck and we take it apart. And we build a deck to destroy it. Because as soon as that meta deck gets listed online, 8 of the 15 players you're going to play over here are going to be playing it because they just go to the card shop and go, hey, I need these 60 cards, and here's my $400 because I'm going to play that deck now. And then you run into the same deck 4 out of 6 games.
Ugh,
And it's the
remind
exact
me.
same deck, the exact same cards. The only thing that's different is the guy playing it. So you've got to be able to beat that.
This is true.
And when you beat that deck with a deck you came up with, it's called a homebrew. You homebrewed it. No one else knows it. And me and my tech guy, Pete, were known as Team Homebrew. Well, when you have a sealed tournament, which is what this is, you walk in, you pay your $45, they hand you a box. The box has 6 packs in it and 1 specialty pre-release card that's going to be one of the rares or mythics from the set. And you have to build a deck out of those cards and win and beat everybody else.
Yep, same with Pokemon.
Yeah. I've been playing since 1992. I've seen every combination you can come up with.
Jeez.
Sealed Limited is my jurisdiction. And this weekend I went 3-1 and 4-0. That's 3 wins, 1 loss, and 4 wins, 0 losses.
Yeah,
In matches that lasted like maybe 12 minutes out of the hour.
Yeah, I think
All right,
those pre-releases
let's,
are probably the most fun games I've had, because you don't have everyone playing. Like half the people aren't playing the same damn thing.
Right.
Like
You
because
don't
they're
see
not
any of the
playing
meta.
They can't.
It's
all right,
it's
you
all
bunch of
brand
card nerds. Let's let Spin catch up on the comments here, you bunch of nerds.
Yes.
Like I got any room to talk, but yeah, let him catch up on the
I
comments.
know, right?
Well, Professor D says, I'd be surprised if you did a survey and more than 50% of people said they routinely sleep 8 hours. Most people sleep less, which I would
Grab some of
agree
my
with.
cards.
I average 5 to 6. Professor D also says, but the point is most people overestimate how aberrant it is that they often stay up really late or wake really early compared to their immediate family or peers. So now he also has a question for everyone. And he says, here's a question for each of your other favorite hobbies or franchises. Why collect them, or do you watch that in addition to Transformers? What is the quality of your second favorite hobby that you just don't get from Transformers?
Mine's easy if you want me to go first.
Okay.
Transformers is fun in here. This is where I come and I relax. I'll pull some people off the shelf, transform them a few times, change the way that they're standing, like that. But it's not a social activity. And I'm a social person. All my other hobbies, Magic, Warhammer, D&D, Battletech, they're social groups. It's not something you do by yourself. I'm not going to load a couple of these up and go over to Pete's and go, hey man, let's play some Transformers. No, that's not going to happen. I did when I was a kid. But that's something I do here.
Right.
My other hobbies are social engagements. To me, anyway.
Cool. Which would include the cosplay, which we do see the Optimus Prime right behind you.
Yeah, he's a little worse for wear, but we did a lot of cleaning on it. Like I said, it was 13 years ago when I made that, and that's just cardboard. It's been sitting in the barn. It had dust on. Hell, there was a damn mouse nest in one of the arms. There was pieces that had, like I said, the hot glue, but because of the heat, had separated. He's missing a piece off of his grill. I couldn't find it. But I've got all the pieces there. The torso, my daughter claimed that she actually claimed it and used it for another cosplayer, not the torso, but the waist, everything, the cod piece and everything in the legs. So that's on one of the cosplays that she's using now. But no, that's him there. And like I said, this was actually a competition called Cosplay on a Budget. And if you'll give me the screen again, spin. So that helmet is a construction hard hat with the bill cut off of it. And then everything else is cardboard origamied onto it. The faceplate is Velcroed in place, so I could take it off because it would get rather stifling in there if you're in a big crowded place. You couldn't use more than $20, not including paint. Couldn't use more than $20 on the thing, so it all had to be made out of junk. So he is all cardboard. The main torso is a box called the Big Box, and it's what the chicken wings come in at Buffalo Wild Wings. The shoulder boxes there with the Autobot symbols on them, those are boot boxes that my construction boots came in. The cardboard tubes that are the smokestacks are liners for plastic rolls of plastic, 6mm plastic. The windshield wipers are large zip ties cut down, as so are the air grills. Right, let's see, right there. Those black things right there are just large zip ties glued to it. Everything else is cardboard. On the helmet, I'll grab it and show you what all the things are that are on it. So it had to be junk. So it had to be stuff that you already used. Now you can really see that it's just cardboard on a hard hat. But these are drip pan liners for an electric stove.
Nice.
And the centers, those are Renewsit stick-ups. Like little air fresheners that you put in your bathroom.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
This is all cardboard around the face and the head. It's actually quite heavy. And if I take this off, I might still be able to put this on.
Oh, that's perfect. That is perfect.
Oh, cool.
Mm-hmm.
So if you do that with less than $20, imagine what those guys are doing with big
the
budgets.
thing that won me the competition. Well, actually, I'm gonna get the legs. It'd be easier to show you on those. Oh, and here's the forearms. So the forearms are coat cases.
Wow.
Yeah, I kind of figured that.
But the legs were made out of scrap aluminum that I bent on my brake, and then trash pieces of styrofoam, 2-inch styrofoam for the wheels.
Nice.
And the center caps, the hub caps, those are the paint caps to the cans of paint that I used. And that's what won me. That impressed the judge more than anything else about the costume was that. Now, there was a whole separate category for the weapon. Let me back up here so I can bring this bad boy up here. So, this is Prime's blaster that I walked around with. And it's all cardboard except for the silver piece right here. That's a coffee can.
Mm-hmm.
The next one is a mixed nut can. The next one is a chock full of nuts coffee can. These are planters. This is another chock full of nuts coffee can, and that's a peanut butter jar.
Whatever works.
It works.
But when you glue it all together and do a little creative, it's a really light blaster.
That is very cool.
Yeah.
Well, what got you into cosplay?
My daughter, and my son. I had heard of it, but I didn't know what it was. And they, we went to conventions and stuff, and we saw all the people in costumes. And they're like, "Oh, I'd really like to do that sometime." And I was like, "I don't know about that." And because I'm looking at these cosplay girls, 90% of them are, you've seen more cotton in the top of an aspirin bottle than what they're wearing.
Hence my Instagram feed.
That's not what I wanted for my daughter. And so she comes up to me and she's like, "Daddy, what if we made this one?" And she's holding a Chandra the Pyromancer from Magic the Gathering.
Okay.
And I was going, chainmail on leather armor. I can do that. And I actually have it. It's hanging in the other room right there. I can go and get it too. But me being who I am, I can't do anything half-assed. So I bought some 14 gauge stainless steel wire, and I made me a chain link pod. And all that is a dowel rod with a hole drilled in it. You stick the end of the wire in it, and you chuck it into a drill, and you pull the trigger. And it winds it up all the way down that rod. And then you take a slicer wheel on a grinder and go, and you just made like 150 links. And so 3,200 links later, we have that. And I got to go get that here in a second. But made that, made all the leather for it. And she won. And then my son wanted to do something. I said, "What do you want to do?" And he said, "I want to do Deadpool."
Nice.
Is this the one with the latex or spandex that was a bitch to sew
get
together?
Me right in the heart. Yes, yes, it was full spandex. Is what I bought was. It's called a morph suit because I'm a theater geek. A morph suit is where it's a full body, completely over the head, zips up the back, and you're just in a bodysuit, and it's all one color. Right. So I bought a red one, and then I bought some black spandex, and I was like, "This is going to be so easy." Bullshit. Sewing spandex sucks. It absolutely sucks ass. It took me so long to do that, and because he's constantly pulling that mask on and over his face, his eyes were popping off, and it was just bad. It was so bad. It's why, if you look at the pictures I sent a while back, the eyes are really roughly out of shape. And then because he's already popped it off 2 or 3 times, popped all the stitches out of it because he's stretching it over his face to get his eyes right in the circles. But he won in his division, and instead of Deadpool, they called him Kitty Pool. But because that it was 100% spandex, he was actually able to wear that cosplay for like 9 years because it just kept stretching with him as he grew.
That's cool. And I say hello to Joseph. Joseph says, "Hi, welcome to our stream and to the channel." And Charlie C, who's hiding in the comments, says, "Magnus's prime gun seems a little nutty."
Chock full of nuts is a good coffee.
So this is my main deck box. Why am I saying Basque for? So like just random stickers on it. X-Men Pokemon crossover, Death Note, Mario, yes, Sailor Moon, mainly because I like the facial. I like the memes about these two because they remind me of my niece and nephew, and then Mixtape, then Spider-Man.
So
cool.
Give me it just for a second there, Spin. This thing's heavy. So this was her first cosplay. Now she wore a long sleeve red shirt underneath of this. Mm-hmm. And we 3D printed these. These actually move. And this power tube has LEDs in it. The gauntlet has the trigger in it. But I'm too low. But she had it, and the cord came down and went underneath her arm, and she had it in her. Whenever she make a fist, this would all light up red.
Now, how heavy is that dress?
This right here is about 60 to 75 pounds.
Holy cow!
Wow.
Yeah, actual Yeah, link.
It's
Small.
actual stainless steel. It's just not welded, but it's actual chainmail. If I can get it close enough to where you can see the lay-in work.
Yeah.
Wow.
SCA, Society of Creative Anachronism.
Yeah,
I know
and
about that
it
type
has
of
to
stuff
hang
from
on.
them.
It has to hang on 3 hangers, otherwise
Oh,
it'll
yeah.
stretch it out. And it's doing a pretty good job on stretching these out.
That is quite impressive of an outfit. See them. Have
Like
you
I
done
said,
any?
I don't do anything half-assed.
Well, see them. Have you done any cosplay yourself?
Mainly when I was a kid, so I remember doing Magus from Chrono Trigger around the same Halloween before, maybe a year or two after it came out, and I think Chrono Trigger came out in '95 in the U.S. I remember going all out with a werewolf costume, like fake chest hair and claws, and really good mask, and then a headless horseman costume. I happened to find like a halfway decent. It was like plush, but it was like the pumpkin head, and had that for the head, and then just went, all full blown with all the costuming, finding like, old classic trousers and shirt and, cloak from the 1800 looking stuff. But as an adult, not so much. But I have a lot of friends that do cosplay, so.
Yeah, I mean,
that's probably half the people I follow on Instagram is because it's like, oh, they do cosplay, or they're burlesque dancers who do a lot of costume making. So.
Yeah, something I haven't done myself.
Being as though you're in Pokemon, do you know what Beckett is?
Yeah, I recognize the name.
It's the grading company.
Yeah. Vaguely remember. Well,
this is a graded Tier 7 volcanic island from the revised edition of Magic. This is the 3rd set that came out in Magic back in '95, I think is when.
Yeah, I hadn't gone that far down the rabbit hole.
It was before they even put. It was before, 1994. It says it on the thing up here.
Like, I have friends who do like the whole get into graded cards. Like, I'll have like I'll have like my nice binder. Well, there's like 1 or 2 cards like where it's like more of a. I probably could find them where it's like you do like for the stadium where it's like basically it's a location. You use it. You play a stadium card to basically effectively choose your battleground, and it has every battleground terrain has its own advantages. So that's kind of how a stadium card. And sometimes they'll do full art ones, and I really like some of those. And normally they're like gold, sparkly, full art stuff. I mean, they'll make something like this look like this is a full art of like the main that I use in my grass deck. It makes like cards that make this look ghetto and low effort. And that's like a higher effort card, like art wise, compared to, let's say, like this base version. This version, which is technically more fancy, but it's just because of metal like outlines and whatnot rather than the general painting or drawing. It's trying to think if there's one here. Yeah, this one has like traditional drawing. You can see like it's just the pencil pen outlines, but like, yeah, I guess while I'm at it, so yeah, this is my main little Japanese version of a flower girl ballerina kickboxer thing that can do like parallel spinning kicks, and that you can like add 100 points of damage, so 130, 26, 230. Then I'll use like other thing called a choice belt to add other 30, so she'll hit for like 260. Then she has what's called a star perfume, which is a V star power, which you can only use one in a whole game. And basically it lets you like set up your bench, whether you pick you have your active and then 5 on your bench, and then your energy, which is like your ammo for your attacks, and you get to pick any 5 combination of those from your deck. So I normally try to get her set up quick so she can use that power. And then if for some reason I don't get her off quick, I'll use this guy. This is newer since the rotation. So this is just the base card. He's not that important, but I get this guy on, and I can pick a grass Pokemon. It doesn't matter if it's a basic or, any grass Pokemon. So I use that. If I can't get her up quick and I get him instead, then I use him to get monsters out quicker. Then this one, similar thing, but for energy. Now this one, the base one's not important, but the second one, I pick the top 3 cards, and if any of them are energy, I get assigned them whoever I want. And then for a second evolution, up to 8 cards, and I can attach up to 8 energy. And most of the monsters, they're like 1, 2, or 3 energy. So I can get like, anywhere from like a whole 6 monsters to like half my team like set up just from, these 2, which are I added since the 5th. Then I'll have this guy, which is the other type. You can only play one of the Radiants. And then basically at the end of my turn, after I attacked, I've done everything else. I can be like, oh, do I have less than 5 cards? If I do, I can use this ability and get back to 5 cards in my hand. That's just to keep it so I have, more options my next turn. And the only other old one, I just got like the monsters out. I don't have the trainers and stuff as this guy. And this is, if you have him on the bench, all your grass Pokemon have like 40 more hit points. So he's just there to make people last longer against attacks, like against everybody on your team. So
cool. Well, Toy Whip stepped away for a minute. I had a question for him, so I'm going to go back to Mr. Magnus. And what do you have on display there?
These are Battletech. These are just like the Warhammer figurines. They come in, they're basic gray, everything, and I base paint them. This guy's jumping.
Oh, okay.
And this one, I haven't put the flocking on it yet, but let me see if I can get it to where it'll focus on him.
Well, that's just flocking great.
Yeah. It's not going to, but he's extremely detailed. He's almost panel lined.
Cool.
But I have nothing on the base yet. And then these are the different kinds of flocking that I use. I have the sand gravels. And this one has, get my finger out of the way. This one has forests and trees on him.
Okay.
I figured since he was in forest camo, why not put that stuff on him?
Very cool. Now, I was going to get into the question of grading, which I know the 3 of you have kind of have more experience with, and I know Toy Warp, in most recent, which I do have to connect with the one individual that you had forwarded to me. In terms of people who do grading, is their job just grading, or are they fans of the materials or the items that they are grading?
I know my guy is a huge TOS Star Trek guy, like huge guy, like huge into the original Star Trek. So I would have to, that'd be a good question to ask him when we bring him on. Is he allowed to grade Star Trek stuff? Being as big a fan as he is, or was he allowed? I mean, I know, when he did the grading, he did it for a lot of years, but he's not doing it anymore. He's retired. So, yeah, that'd be a good question for him actually to see if you're allowed to grade stuff that you're a fan of.
I know in Magic you are, because there's a bunch of guys that work for TCG Player and that are on some of the Magic sites that I'm on, and they talk about their decks, and that they're grading cards as they come through so that they can. Now they're not Beckett grading. They just work for one of the sales hubs. TCG Player is one of the main sales hubs for Magic cards. A little spoof for them anyway. Welcome to Children of Primus.
Yes.
Sponsored by TCG Play. No, that'd be nice, wouldn't it?
That'd be nice.
But his main job is he goes through and looks for proxies, because these cards are just cardboard. You know, it's just a cardboard playing card. And he goes through, and there's, I don't know how many tests there are. I just send my shit in, and they tell me, oh, look, you traded for a proxy. And I'm like, oh, well, shit, punch a hole. And that's what they do. They take a hole punch and go, if it's a fake card.
Nice.
And I know one of the tests has to do with the green dot on the back of a Magic card.
Yep.
If you look at it through a jeweler's lens, there's like a number 7 in it, and it's so small that a regular printer that somebody has at their house can't put that 7 in it. And so if they look in it and they can't see the 7, it gets a hole punch in it.
Well, you know what they say. I mean, if anything that's worth money, there's counterfeit of them out there.
Oh,
Like
there's proxies all over Magic. I personally use proxies. Are they for my commander decks? But I will not proxy a card that I don't own. I just do it because I have 28 commander decks. I just do it so that I don't have to go and get the one Savannah out of this deck and unsleeve it and re-sleeve it in this other one and put it in this deck so I can play this deck. If anybody has any questions about my deck, I just handle my sliver deck. Any land that I'm using in any of these decks, the real one's in there. Because my sliver deck has around $3,000 worth of land in it. Because it's got these guys in it. It's got the ones that I opened when I was a teenager. You know, back in 1993.
Wow.
I didn't understand half of what he just said. I think it's more than half, actually.
So like what he was just talking about, that game there, in Magic, you have to draw power to cast a spell. You get your power from mana, which this is a mana card. This is a land card. But this is an extremely rare land card because they were not printed after 1994. They've never been redone. In Magic, if a card is tapped, it's basically dead. You can't do anything with it. Now, everybody else you can react with it, you can cast an enchantment on it, you can destroy it, you can do whatever you want. But I can't do it. I cannot get more mana from this while it's tapped. When it's ready, it's this direction. When it's tapped, I tapped it to draw the red mana off of it. And so now it's recharging. At the beginning of my turn, I untap it. This card taps for 2 colors. It taps for red and for blue. So I can tap for either one.
You're really not helping your case here.
Oh, I know. But that's what makes it so valuable, is that the other dual-colored lands, 90% of them come into play tapped. You can't use them the turn that you cast it. These come into play. These come into play untapped, and you can use them as soon as they hit the battlefield.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that they haven't been reprinted in 20 years.
Charlie C says,
right.
Magnus likes talking about his deck.
I could talk about my decks all night. Like I said, I have 28 commander decks.
He actually trimmed his bush so the deck would look bigger.
That's right.
We'll allow
That's why I got into commander, because it's 100 cards instead of 60. I like playing with a 10 instead of a 6.
Oof. Yeah, I do my best when I start to going off about the car stuff when I'm on here. I try my best not to go off on tangents like that. But Bill, man, you took that freaking bottle and ran.
Oh yeah,
wow.
He is geek-gasmed all over us.
That's what I do, man. That's what I do. My nerd rage is not a bad thing. Oh.
These are cards I was alluding to earlier. Like, I mean, I could have had like a regular version of this. So like a regular version of a stadium is like, okay, gotta think, is like this. So it's half text. So like this crystal cave, I don't know what it is about big crystal caves. I was like, ooh, that's neat. I bought that instead of the cheap, few cents on the dollar one. I wanted the more expensive one. And then the Collapse Stadium, that's one I got in a pre-release. And that's like gold cards. Those are pretty much like the rarest cards you get. So I was like, oh, I got that from a pre-release. Sweet. So.
Yeah, there were $200 cards pulled this weekend at ours.
I'll believe it.
Now, I got lucky with the 60 one, but.
No, I mean, if we go away from
Put
the
these back before I forget that I pulled them out.
the cards and gameplay.
Do we want to go to Transformers? I got reveals.
Oh, you know what? Let's step back to Transformers for a moment. I was gonna say let's talk about Star Trek, but we'll go back to Transformers.
Chromia and Shard or whatever that green crystal helicopter is yesterday. The Chromia I'm not gonna get because it's.
If Chris Labrador is watching, thank you, Chris, for the sale. I got this off Transformers Liberated from one of our main admins.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, it's the 2-pack Ariel and Dion. And they're remolds of RC and Cup. So that was bought online, but sent you all the picture of the 30% off at Target. I was
I saw that.
I was really hoping Anthony was going to join us tonight.
Yeah, he wasn't able to. Yeah. Ooh, nice.
But wait. I got him one.
There we go.
Nice.
So yeah, I wanted him to know not to buy one if he has the chance to, because he's got one coming in the mail. And then I also picked up the new blaster.
Ooh, okay. Now, does that blaster look similar to one of the ones you owned previously?
Let me go get them, because I honestly I hadn't even taken them out of the bag before I got set up over here.
Legacy one. It just has more paint apps to look more like the
I gotta
show model.
move this gun before I destroy it.
Yeah, because that's what I was hearing about the
Pokemon
recent
character that I share the same legal first name as. So
nice. Yeah, that was in
my
terms of
nephew got me that one. I was like, nice.
But in terms of that blaster, I was hearing that this recent release is basically identical, almost identical to a previous release.
Yeah, it's just a Kingdom.
He doesn't have the clear
Legacy
chest.
one, just with more paint apps and maybe all solid plastic, maybe.
I don't know. Let's open them up and find out.
That's go.
Yeah, is it paint plastic or solid plastic? Oh yeah, this thing.
Oh, that looks cool.
Some Pokemon's version of Godzilla, and then if you play Guilty games, this character is sort of like Malia Rage, but Pokemon.
Where's my cutter? Which buttons? Yes.
As usual, I can't play the reveal game because I can't find my stuff in Walmart, and to order it online off eBay or something like that, it costs a little bit more than a Walmart purchase.
Well, while Mr. Magnus is opening up his what Toywork, what is your the most recent vintage toy that you've acquired?
It's the Ramjet, still in the box. I think I told you guys about it. Picked it up at RetroCon, and I scored it for $100. And Anthony brought up, I did tell you guys because it was Anthony that brought up a really good point on it, that if Walmart had reissued it, it'd probably be a $50, $60, $70 toy. So to pick up the original in the box with all the original paperwork and the original blister, it was a deal for $100, even though the box is a little beat up. It's certainly not gradable. I'm not going to go down that road again. But yeah, that's my most recent. They did have another thing that I collect from the 80s is Stomper trucks. They had an original Stomper truck store display that was all cardboard, and basically what it was a stand, and then you had like a big cardboard bin that sat on top of it that you would throw the Stompers in. Still in the package, and they wanted $7,000 for it.
Wow.
They still had some of the Stompers that were in it that were still on card. The cheapest one was $900.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So understand why I don't have reveals every week, because those are the kind of prices that I'm dealing with Transformers and Stompers and big trucks and stuff like that. Yeah.
You didn't get it?
So there's quite a few different paint apps. So this one is the Legacy. This one is the new one. Trying to get to where my light isn't killing them. So this one just has a red symbol and not a clear view on his chest.
Mm-hmm.
His symbol is outlined in white.
Yep.
And his cassette holder is clear, so you can see the disc inside of it. This one's speakers are gray. This one's speakers are black. Feet are black. This one has little red highlights up inside where his feet fold up. This one does not. On the sides, notice it's just solid gray here and got more details here.
Mm-hmm.
And same for whenever he's the boombox, the dials and stuff are painted on this one.
Cool.
But yeah, same piece. Oh, face is white, face is silver.
Yeah, noticing that.
The dome is silver versus white too.
But the big thing is with his cassette. So this was Legacy. It's the clear blue. This is the new one. It's not clear.
Thank God.
Cool.
Well, welcome, Charlie.
Yes, Charlie.
How you guys
What's
doing?
up, Charles?
We're good.
What's all your little comments? Should be talking about my deck like that.
Well, Charlie, see, I guess we'll throw it over to you. Other than Transformers, what other interests do you have? Toys, comics, shows, and stuff?
I collect a few He-Man. Mostly play with cars, like full-size cars. And I play video games. I mean, I don't really collect them, but I have. Like the old Nintendos, like the re-releases and this sort of stuff. I don't know if I'm like a collector like some of those people. But yeah, I used to collect Hot Wheels for a little bit, but that I just stayed with Mustangs and sort of cars I like. I didn't go crazy. And I just found out recently that you have to like really have an eye for the collectibles, and it could be the same car, but they would have like certain insignia and all that stuff on it. I'm like, that's way above my head. So I just stick with my Transformers.
Okay.
But how many cars you got in real life there?
Let's see. I got the Mustang, Miata, which is a toy. We got my wife has a Kia Stinger, and then I have my truck and a CRV, which my son drives. But I don't have like a collection. Not, I'd love to. I just need a bigger garage.
That's the reason why my car sucks so bad right now, is because I put so much money into the garage.
Yeah,
But what year's your Mustang?
it's a 2019 Bullet.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Okay.
You know, I had I started with a 2009. I wanted a Mustang, but being in the Air Force, I kind of travel around too much. And I had started out with a Skyline over in Japan. And then I got back to the States and I got a 2009 Mustang. Then I upgraded to a 2011, and then I made the mistake of driving the Bullet, and then I got that, and we almost had a 2012 Mustang convertible, but we missed out on that one.
When he's saying Bullet, he's saying there's a special edition Mustang that harkens back to the original Bullet Mustang from the movie in, what was that, 68?
Yeah, 68 or 69.
Yeah, 68, 69 was the original Bullet movie, which kind of pioneered the whole car chase genre. And then, Ford has done Bullet tributes through the years. So it's like a hunter green, like the original car, and it's got the torque thrust wheels like the original car. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I see
that's-
which one it is. Yeah.
You can't see the label, but yeah, 68 Mustang.
Oh, that's very cool. I mean, I don't care about that. I mean, I only have limited knowledge of cars and stuff, but I don't hear much about the Mustang Bullet, though, where I recognize it just from that picture, but I don't hear people talk about it.
If memory serves, it's pretty much just an appearance package anyway. So it wasn't going to make, any big list when it comes to like the car outlets, because it was just basically a regular Mustang GT with, the Bullet appearance.
But it's got the Performance Pack 1, which is like upgrade. It's got like everything that a GT would have, but it's got like sometimes it might have a little bit better suspension. It's got the top of the line stuff that you can get in the Mustang, and it's got the upgraded suspension, bunch of other like little things, upgraded stereo, but they normally come in either hunter green or black. There has been one, I think it was 2001 that came in blue. They had green, black, and blue, but they only did that for that year. And then 2007 or 8, I think it was, or it might have been 9, they came out with it again in the hunter green. Then they did it again in 2019, 2020. They had the Bullet Mustang edition. So, and it's also they usually have like a little bit more horsepower than the average GT.
I'm waiting for him to do a HB Halaki Gone in 60 Seconds version Eleanor. So when you buy it from the factory, it's already beat to crap.
So apparently somebody bought the rights to the Eleanor name, because people were making their own Eleanors.
Denise Halaki, that was a huge deal on YouTube. Some big car channel on YouTube was going to build an Eleanor, meaning like the newer style Eleanor, the 2000 Gone in 60 Seconds release, because there were two different Mustangs from the original. So they said they were going to build this car and give it away, and of course they're calling the car Eleanor because that's her damn name. But Denise Halaki, the wife of the gentleman who made the original Gone in 60 Second movies, sued them for copyright infringement for making that car. And it went through probably 3 or 4 years worth of legal battles, and they lost. So everyone now has the right to build the 67 Shelby GT500, which is the newer style Eleanor, and name it Eleanor.
Wow.
But Denise Halaki's lawyers and her lawyers have gone back and they have tried to appeal it, and it's still in court.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a mess, man. It's just ridiculous.
And that's something I wouldn't have known about. I mean, what's the backstory or the basis of that whole case or everything, or what's I guess give more in depth details behind that model car and everything, the story behind it.
Okay, HB Halaki
It's a badass car, but it was just his favorite car when he was in the movie.
HB Halaki was the original creator of the original 1974 Gone in 60 Seconds. And to this day, I will die on the hill that is the greatest car chase movie ever made, because it is 50 minutes of solid car chase. A lot of it was filmed without permits, downtown LA on a Sunday. Just wild. There's a point where he crashes the car and it looks great for the camera, but he really crashed the car and he actually spent a couple days in the hospital and was fined and everything. Yeah, just total legend filmmaking, right? There was no story to the original Gone in 60 Seconds. It was pretty much just loud, bombastic car chase, blah, blah, blah. The story was real thin. Characters were real thin. And the original Eleanor was a 73 Ford Mustang. It was just like a regular, everyday Mustang, but it had a NASCAR motor and a NASCAR style cage in it, okay, for filming. The car still exists. I think it's sitting at the Peterson Automotive Museum. Because he is the original creator, he died in 1982 and everything went to his wife named Denise Halaki. And then, of course, when the 2000 movie rolled around, they had to get all those rights, bought up for your permissions from Denise Halaki and her legal team to make anything that had to do with Gone in 60 Seconds. So when the new Gone in 60 Seconds come out, and I'm saying new, even though it's 24 years old. Oh my God. They changed what Eleanor was. She originally was a 73, but they changed her to a 67 Shelby GT 500. Much sexier Mustang for sure. But to me, it wasn't Eleanor. But that's because the original movie was a B movie, not a whole lot of people knew about it. So when it came out in the year 2000, the new one, everyone was like really impressed that Eleanor was a 67 GT 500. No one knew that she was originally a 73. So many car guys that I know that I game with on Xbox or race with in real life, I was like, well, what about the 74 version? They're like, what? they've never heard of it because it was such like an underground B movie. But the 2000 version basically put a really slick body kit on what was already a really slick car, the 67 Shelby GT 500. There was companies out there who, after the movie, started making the same body kit, and they had already known that they couldn't legally call the car Eleanor. But when this YouTuber guy come along and he was going to build one, and he called it the Eleanor Project or something like that. Eleanor was in the title of it. Oh yeah, man. The original copyright owners for Gone in 60 Seconds, they flipped their shit, and yeah, they totally banned the guy from doing the whole project.
Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, that's more of the story behind it.
Okay, cool. Back to you, Charlie. Any new characters for the week?
So I got that one. I got this one from Big Bad Toy Store, which is the same thing. I was hoping it'd be the same as the other one. And then I recently got this. Found that at Target.
Nice.
And they're all sold out, and I just happened to walk in and they only had one. And then this guy was on sale. It shows me. I already got other versions of it, but I wanted the Fans Toys. It was like less than $100. I was like, I'm getting it.
Nice. RJ Eagles in the house. In the comments, it says, "Hey guys, I had a dinner event tonight and missed the entire conversation. Would have loved to chime in on today's topic, covering other lines as well."
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we still have 15 minutes, so why don't you throw something in? Because I know a couple lines that I think you're familiar with. So throw something in the comments and let us know what lines you like. What do you have over there, SETTOM?
I was remembering with Transformers, is it Bumblebee and like Cliff Jumper that were the penny racers?
Yeah.
And there's a few Mario Karts that weren't Hot Wheels that had a little fake plastic coin. You put it in the back slot and just makes it a little bit easier to wind up. I got 2 of the 3 of them, the Mario and the Luigi. I didn't get the Yoshi. Mainly
If
got
they're
them for the
if they're like penny racers, it doesn't make it easier to wind up. What that does is if you without a penny in a penny racer, if you pull it back and let it go, it just goes straight. But if you put a penny in it, that's just enough weight on the very back of the toy that it would lift up the front end and it would do all sorts of spin outs and stuff because
Forgot about that.
Yeah,
the weight, all that is just a weight transfer thing. Yeah.
Basically, have them drive like they're drunk.
Yeah.
We'll get back to Magnus in a second. Professor D, I haven't looked. Charlie, did you say FT Hitch / hoist was less than 100? That seems like a deal. If so, I'm guessing he's still.
It was. It's sold out.
Oh, did you guys get your tickets for the Transformers first 4 episodes that are coming to movie theaters?
You can buy the tickets now?
Yes, the tickets were available on April 10th.
I didn't get them.
Yeah, Omega posted about that.
Yes, that isn't some of the recent news there. But I guess it's a question of which theaters are going to be showing that.
My closest theater, and I'm in a pretty, not a rural area, but I'm kind of in town area with surrounded by other towns, and the closest place I had was 45 minutes away.
Oh.
I still got tickets.
Okay.
I can't wait to see it. If it was local, I probably would have went all 3 times because it's on the 15th, 17th, and 18th, if I remember correctly.
I believe so. Although I haven't looked to see what listings they have here, if we have listings of it.
They're having the original voice actors do. I know it's Peter Cullen. So far, what I've seen is Peter Cullen, Frank Welker, Paul Eiding, Dan Gilvezan, Arthur Burkhart. They've got some weird guy I never heard of doing Starscream, but I guess he's supposed to be able to do a good Starscream. And there was somebody else there. I see. Oh, Michael Bell. That's right. They've got all these guys. They're doing like original readings. They're reading from the original script. So I don't know if they're gonna like read the original script from the first 3 episodes, and then the next episode that they're gonna do, or they're doing something separate. I don't know, but it looks awesome.
Ah, okay. And I know recently, there's been the talks about the Transformer 1 movie coming out, where there's, I think in one of the recent conventions, they mentioned like a slight trailer of some sort, but the official trailer is supposed to be coming out, I believe, later this week, which everyone's been waiting for.
Yeah, I don't know if people are going to be waiting. Apparently, from what I heard about the movie, it is going to be like a prequel for the live action movies. I'm like, yeah, well, in that case,
I heard they're going to use they're going to have like more human-like faces, and it's going to be before they learn to transform and all this other stuff. I'm like, I'll wait till it comes out on DVD or on whatever live stream.
Yeah, it kind of when I heard that it was. Now, when they say the live action movies, I don't know if they mean the live action movies like the Bay movies or the newer style movies, considering the newer style movies are kind of going on a direction of their own,
Mhm.
and we have no idea where it's going. Especially now they're doing the crossover with GI Joe.
Right.
But yeah, that really dashed my hopes. I'm not gonna lie, man. When I heard that, I'm just like, yeah.
Well, RJ Eagle says, are we talking about current lines, things we're buying today, or all lines in general from all eras? What is more of other interests other than Transformers? But then he also says most recent purchases for me are Lunar Prime, Missing Link Prime, Turtles of Grayskull, and X-Men 97 figures. Which is quite interesting. I've never heard of Turtles of Grayskull, but I haven't seen anyone who's mentioned the X-Men 97 figures yet.
I think I told, was it last week? I mentioned I got the Executioner.
Yes.
I think it was RJ was on last week. I'll be curious which ones he's gotten.
That Executioner that
haven't seen any of
you
them
had
yet.
up last week, was that from the 97?
Yeah, that's from the
Toy
X-Men
line?
97 toy line, the second
Oh.
wave.
Oh,
I didn't even know they had a toy line out.
and Charlie C has
Has a Turtles of Grayskull?
Turtles of Grayskull.
Yeah, they got Skeletor coming out later on.
So crossover of TMT and He-Man.
Yep.
Interesting.
Which is weird because I think the Turtles will be a little outclassed when it comes to the He-Man universe.
They're just
Jujutsu wins out over Magic. What are you talking about?
Yeah, ninjas versus magic.
bring it on.
If you're going to do both of them,
TMT's had some pretty good crossovers.
Legacy
There's, like,
one looks
Batman
better
and
in-
TMT.
the Legacy one looks better in the tape deck mode, and the new one looks better in the robot mode.
Nice. That's a good analysis.
A good way to display them then too.
Mm-hmm.
That's how these will be up there.
Well, as RJ Eagle says, yes, that He-Man, that's the mutated He-Man figure, which is awesome. That's so cool.
This is the only one I got so far.
Well, are they going to base, I guess, all 4 turtles in the He-Man universe? Or
Yes.
is it...
They already got those out.
I read
I'm really gonna
somewhere
see
the
it,
other
but-
day that they're going to do an R-rated Turtles movie.
Yes, the one where they die.
Yeah.
The original comics were pretty dark. They were very original comics.
Yes.
And the last Ronin's what Magnus was just referring to. Well, all of them but Michelangelo dies.
I like
the last Ronin.
I like the storyline of the last Ronin, and yeah, the original Turtles were dark, which the first movie still held on to the essence of that, but the second and third were just a complete comedy show. Which is why they just kind of sucked in a sense.
Go ninja, go ninja, go! Go ninja, go ninja, go!
I did like the one where they were the great big turtles, where they were like 7 feet tall.
Oh, they
were the real muscular ones.
The Bayverse ones?
Oh, the one from a few years ago.
2016?
Yeah, they actually weren't that bad. From what I recall.
Because I think there were 2.
2 of them?
Yeah, the first one was pretty decent.
Then the second one had Bebop and Rocksteady, if I remember, and Krang.
Yeah, I didn't watch the second one.
Right.
Oh my God, those reshoots were so painfully obvious because Shredder was going to be the white guy, business owner guy from the first one.
Yeah.
And then they had to cram in the reshoots of the Oriental Shredder.
Oh.
Because the fans had such a huge outrage that Shredder wasn't going to be an Asian guy. Which I
it was
totally
kind of like how
with.
people had the fan reaction to the Sonic, the Sonic with the teeth.
Oh,
and people were like, we got to fix this.
Yeah, but that wasn't painfully obvious. They actually they actually pushed back the movie release and went back and fixed everything, frame by frame by frame. That wasn't painfully obvious.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying.
It was painfully obvious.
Oh, but that Sonic, the one with the teeth, did look kind of weird and creepy though.
That was creepy looking. Yeah, I you know what though, it turned out so good. The Sonic movies are actually a lot of fun.
Okay, I haven't. I've heard. I haven't had to watch those yet either.
Doesn't Jim Carrey does a pretty good job as Dr. Robotnik / Eggman?
Oh my god, that is so good. Yes, I agree.
He's like made for that character.
Uh-huh.
And RG Eagle says, I need that Executioner figure. It's a good one. I have all the first wave and just got Cyclops, Prior, Nightcrawler, need Jean Grey, the Turtles of Grayskull Mikey. That's coming soon. Looks so funny.
I'm half tempted to get the Madeline Pryor, even though it's that redesign and not the classic underboob version from the 80s. But I like that character, so I might get it regardless.
Nice.
My opinion,
Cool.
I like
Nice.
this one. This one came with the new one. The one that
Nice.
doesn't have the see-through.
Yeah. RG Eagle says,
They're exactly the same, just painted different.
cool. RG Eagle says, Jim Carrey is the perfect Eggman in both movies.
Yes. Yeah, he is so much fun, especially after the first one where it gets into the second one where he's really leaning into the character. Not like he's saying things and doing things, and he looks more like the character from the video games.
Okay.
In the like the first 3/4 of the first movie, he obviously doesn't look like him, but then he ends up going through a transformation at the end of the last one, and it goes into the second one where he actually looks like, you know, Eggman from the Sonic games, which is God, you know, Carrey just does it perfectly.
I mean, he's kind of an underrated actor, which, I mean, unfortunately, you know, that first, when he was really popular, he had a lot of the silly movies, but he has a handful of movies where he actually plays, he actually does a good job as just being a comedic, like, silly actor.
Yeah, both him and Adam Sandler have had some movies that really surprised me. That trying to think of that Adam Sandler movie where he's like a gem seller, and he's like in debt with like the loan sharks. Uncut Gems, I think it was called. That was good. He did a good job in that. I was very surprised with his performance in that.
I heard they're coming out with another Happy Gilmore.
Yeah, that sounds
Think of
so
your
good.
happy place, Happy.
You eat turds for breakfast?
Get that instigator to get whatever the black guy's dude's hand was. The price is wrong, bitch. My
I
brother
say-
wore out the VHS of that as a kid.
Oh God.
I say a cool thing to look up is that I've seen in recent months is Adam Sandler getting, I guess, like a recognition award for like a lifetime recognition award type thing, but a lot of his cast members that were speaking highly about him. The funniest being Rob Schneider, where he basically says, yeah, all the silly characters that Sandler wouldn't do, Rob's like, I'll do it. Just pay me. I'll do the silly characters, which is why he ends up being those silly characters.
Oh man, I couldn't imagine Sandler in a Deuce Bigalow movie.
Oh God,
that's just wrong. No, we're gonna have to stay with Rob Schneider. Yeah, okay. Out of all the ones that Rob Schneider picked up that Sandler apparently wouldn't do, the couple of gems he's had has been the Deuce Bigalow and I can't think of the name of the other one off the top of my head. It's been a while since I watched anything that had Deuce Sandler or any of those guys.
Well, the one that always sticks out, and he actually makes fun of it when they're doing like that tribute, is that character in The Waterboy that he does.
No.
Vicky showed me her titties and I liked it, Mom.
You know, where he's like, yo, you can do it. And then halfway through, it's like, oh, we suck again.
feel bad again with everyone's oh god, show and tell for this week. If I was doing show and tell for this week, I'd just be showing car parts. Well, that's the kick I'm on. I can't afford to do collect the toys and pay for all my car parts at the same time. So I got to pick one, and I'm in a stretch of having to buy car parts. I just bought lower control arms for one of my Berettas. So it just kind of I can't do that in the toys at the same time.
Right. Well,
yeah,
I mean,
you're paying. My mom had to drop $800 in her car recently because it's my old car from Virginia, and I gave it to her. And I guess just being, it finally got enough Ohio winters to disagree with it.
They will eat a car alive. I'm telling you what.
Oh yeah. Get some Toronto winters, and your car will definitely get chewed up alive.
They stay safe in the garage. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Get stuck out in a hurricane and having to hopefully not float away like a boat. I've done that a few times.
Oh gosh.
That car got this was a different car. It had the serpentine belt got fried. It just got mauled.
All my usually a 5-minute job, so
just got like crushed from the water pressure. So I was like, eh.
RG Eagle says, love your impersonation, guys. Spot on. I mean, a quick car question to Toy Warp. What is it with newer vehicles and lower control arms? Because I remember with cars I had like years ago, that was never an issue. And then, in recent years, the control arm's always damaged or something happens to it. Is it just cheaper parts nowadays or?
Okay. I couldn't. Probably the cheaper parts nowadays. But when I'm saying I bought lower control arms for my Berettas, it's not because there was any problem with them. It's just that buying the whole entire assembly now with the ball joint and the bushings in it is almost as cheap as just buying all those parts separate and putting it on your old control arm. So you could buy like the whole assembly now and just take out the old one, put up the new one, and you're done. It's not a 6-hour job with an air chisel trying to get the freaking ball joint out of them anymore. Or trying to get all the old bushings out and trying to get new bushings in there and make sure they're in there straight and the bolts go through them and everything. No, it's all prefab now, which is terrific. I had a bad ball joint on one side and I got bad bushings on the other. And instead of having to take all that stuff out of the original control arm, and put back in, which is very time consuming, I just bought the whole control arm assembly and I just unbolt them, bolt the new ones up, and I'm done.
Nice.
Well, also back in the day, they used to put the Zerk fittings on there, and people you take it to a garage and get your oil changed, and they would run around and re-grease all the fittings and everything. And you can buy the stuff now, but it doesn't come standard on the newer cars. You have to either buy an aftermarket or you can buy the Zerk fittings and add them.
Most of your grease fittings underneath newer cars are sealed units. So how you used to go in for a oil, lube, filter, and grease, you don't do that anymore. Most of that stuff is sealed, so you can't add grease to it.
Interesting.
Ugh, sealed stuff. Don't remind me. The one I had a car that I was used to cars that you could assess your oil change. You could check your oil. I mean, your transmission fluid like you would your oil. And then my first car that you couldn't readily just check your transmission fluid. Of course, the transmission got shot.
Mm-hmm. Most of your cars nowadays, your high-end cars are eliminating dipsticks.
Why?
It's stupid.
Good question. Your service tech now is able to check the fluids once you get up on the lift. Check the level of your fluid by sticking a finger in the access panel in the transmission, and if you touch. The heck?
Okay.
What is that sound?
Wait, let's just listen.
4 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield, and it has Encore. Okay. Up until Encore, I was like, okay, yeah, that's crazy.
It's Magnus.
Oh, okay.
You can save 20% on your car insurance, Magnus.
by leaving the scene of the accident.
I don't know if Geico will cover that, but
I just saved 50% on my car insurance by outrunning the police.
Children of Primus does not endorse committing crimes and running from the police.
That is fleeing and looting, kids. That's 3 to 5. Don't do it. Or don't
Only do that in video games.
RG Eagle says, I just changed my wheel bearings myself last weekend. That's very cool. Pretty easy job, but removing it ridiculously tough when it's seized. Crazy.
PB Blaster is your friend. Trust me.
And
PB Blaster, when it comes to that kind of stuff, there's a spray called PB Blaster. Spray that stuff on, rusted bolts or stuff that's, rusted onto the car, spray it on, walk away for 20 minutes. Go have a cigarette, go watch a YouTube video, whatever, and come back and you'll be ready to go. PB Blaster is your friend.
Deck of cards.
Or subscribe to Children of Primus and like the video.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. Well, as we round up for the evening, Charlie, what any upcoming things you have in the mail?
No. I think I got one of these. I was just thinking about. It's supposed to be coming, but I'm going to leave him in the box. This is the articulated one, the smaller one, because I'm going to have one of these out of the box with the trailer, and then one set there still sealed up.
That's that G1 one that's super posable.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, that is cool.
I'm on Big Bad Toy Store. But so I'm waiting for that one to come. And I forgot to mention, I did get this from Yellow Park.
Oh, nice.
It's the model kit. That's pretty. Wasn't too hard to do.
Oh, that's so cool.
Was it transform?
No, that's the only thing. It wasn't very expensive. It was on Walmart for like $28.
Oh, nice.
Jeez.
Pretty articulated, got different hands and all that stuff.
When I first started building models, they were only $7 a piece.
But I mean, even though a lot of us will kind of knock the Bayverse or the live action series, designs, like looking at that one that you just held up, like it really looks nice.
This is what I think we should have had from Bayverse from the get-go.
Yeah, it really looks cool.
And it holds together pretty good.
Nice.
As I say, they'll probably fall apart.
What kind of glue you use?
Oh, it's no glue. Just little
it's a
joints
snap?
you stick together.
It's a snap together.
Yeah.
It's a snap together kit, and it was $30. Oh my god!
But look how posable it is.
We're old. We're old.
Return me to dinosaurs, you pest. Dinosaurs.
RJ Eagle says, PB Blaster. Thanks, man. I'll check that out. Thanks again.
Yeah, AutoZone Advance. I think Walmart carries a version of it. But yeah, you pretty much find it anywhere.
Cool. Let's see. I'm over to you. What do you have coming up for this week?
I know all the art project stuff's caught up because I had to rush with the one project. Stories. So finish that up over Friday. So hopefully be hopefully posting to my social media. Hopefully. Then I've been getting caught up with comics, so I'll probably finish catching up with comics. Well, maybe not the Spawn stuff because I got a long, like half or more of a long box of Spawn stuff to get caught up on. But everything else I probably could get caught up on this week if I really wanted to. I'll probably buy some stuff on Tuesday or just wait till Wednesday when the new stuff for this week comes out, and I'll have whatever came out last week. That'll probably be my goals for the week.
All right, cool. And RJ Eagle says, yep, there's also a Yellow Park Megatron that's supposed to be good too. Still waiting for my order. Super posable though, and great articulation. And Mr. Magnus, over to you. What you have upcoming in the mail and coming up in June?
What I was just looking at. Nope, I don't got anything that should be hitting from Big Bad Toy Stores this month. I've still got my 2 cores over there. I've got a couple of things that are second quarter of this year, but that doesn't tell me when. That's why I'll wait until the very end. That way I can get all combined shipping. Yeah, was it 60 or 80 days? What's in my box?
Is it 60 days from Big Bad Toy Store?
I think it is. That's what I was trying to. My account. Wrong one.
Yeah, that reminds me, I gotta
Pound.
come out.
Oh no, it's more than that because these have been in there for at least 2 weeks. I think it's 90 days because they must ship within the next 78 days. So it's just the last 2 of the core Dinobots for the combiner. They're finally hit, so I'm just waiting to see if anything else hits the box before I send it. Other than that, no. Selling a bunch of Magic cards this week. Getting ready to head to Florida for the wedding next month. And then in June, we have OMG Con. Still haven't got any word from them yet. Other than, you're in. Just don't know when I'm in. But they have started posting OMG Con.
Oh,
I'm doing a panel on extreme collecting. Yeah, they've agreed for me to do the panel. They just haven't told me a time slot, but they just started posting up some of the voice actors and stuff are on the website. You can check it out, omgcon.com. You can just Google search OMGCon 2024 in Owensboro, Kentucky, and follow it there. But yeah, that's it. That and I got to fix the damn light. it's snake proof, that son of a bitch.
Snake proof. And Toy Warp, over to you. What do you have coming up for the week?
On Toy Warp Vintage Reviews, I know for sure it's going to happen this week. I know I've been saying it's going to happen, but the video for Black Gold will be out this week because I'm 3/4 of the way through actually filming it, and I've gotten the script all recorded, and it's videos, you know, on its way to being done. Now, the cool thing about doing the video on Black Gold is I connected to the guy who owns the truck now, and that guy has in turn turned me on to how to get a hold of the people who have Warlord now. Now you're talking these puller trucks that are, you know, 40, 45 years old at this point. So it's really cool to, like, you know, get a hold of these guys and you know, talk about the good old days of when they were, you know, going on the national circuit and everything. But you know, Black Gold's video is going to be coming out this week on Toy Warp on Toy Tuesday, and then I start on the Warlord video to get the Bigfoot and the Muscle Machine stuff done, and then after that I'm on to the onto all the accessories that came with it. So,
is the Orange Blossom Special, is it still a vehicle? I mean, does somebody still have it, or is it?
Yes, and they got it off of the original owner, and it is kept in original condition. They only do like 2 or 3 exhibition shows a year with it. I would, you know what? It's really like I'm doing all the videos on the toys of the trucks, but all the trucks themselves really deserve their own video, especially Orange Blossom, because Orange Blossom is something special, like seriously something special. And the history behind that truck and everything. There's one video on YouTube I've seen that the guy kind of goes in depth on, but man, he just does it just completely wrong way. I mean, it's just no kind of theatrics, no kind of, like, if you guys remember how I did like the Bigfoot video where I went to Bigfoot headquarters, or the Days of Thunder barn video. If I could get to Orange Blossom, which is in Kentucky, with Magnus saying everything he's doing is in Kentucky, if I could get to it, I would do a proper video on it. It just, all those trucks really deserve their own, like video telling the history and where the trucks are going to end up going and everything. It's just a shame that none of them really have it. Like I said, the one on Orange Blossom's just done completely wrong.
Wow.
Sorry, went off on a tangent there.
That's okay. Well, I mean, it's amongst our many tangents, so we're gonna wrap up for the evening. And for everyone watching, like our video, subscribe to our channel, and we'll be back next week. And we're going to possibly set up a watch party for X-Men 97. Not sure exactly which day yet, but that is one of the ideas we have in the works, so we can catch up on that too. So, as we say every week at the end of all of our streams, until all are one.
Until
So all are one.